Well, hello. New package was delivered yesterday. I haven't gotten it in or opened it up yet. Falling a little behind, but this is a new piece in for review and a brand new product from a company. And at the end of this video, when I'm done talking about what I want to talk about today, I'll open this on camera. We can see it at the same time together. For now, I want to go in and talk about a very special piece in my system, one that I would never ever sell, even though I almost did a couple of weeks ago. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to give a little update of sorts. It's been almost a year to the day. As a matter of fact, it's not to the day, but November 12th of 2022, I posted a video that had a thumbnail of me holding up a black box saying something like, "Is this the cure?" Right? Of course, it was a little clickbaity, but for me, the subject of that video was the cure. And it is probably the only piece in my system that I know for a fact will never leave this room. And I'm going to tell you a story about 3 or 4 weeks ago when I sold this, and then I instantly regretted it, refunded the buyer, and said, "I'm sorry, I just can't do it." So what am I talking about? For me, it was a cure. For me, it did something to my system that no other power conditioner did. And yes, I'm talking about a power conditioner, a mains purifier, whatever you want to call it. But this is the Puritan Audio PSM156. This is a black box that houses outlets. You plug it into the wall, you plug your gear into the box. And for me, this has been absolutely a lifesaver, a system saver, I should say, over the past year in this room. Now, I'm going to tell you guys what it has done for me, what it may or may not do for you, and my updated thoughts on it after a solid year of it being in my system. Now, in the past, I've tried conditioners from AudioQuest, the Niagara series. I tried the $10,000 PS Audio Power Plant, which I really did enjoy, but then that started making some noises itself that I couldn't understand. And it all came down to the power in my house. I've had an electrician here to do some work, but at the end of the day, some amps, when I would bring them in, would have a transformer buzz or hum. And I always thought it was the amp itself, but it turned out to be the biggest problem here was my power. I also had the effect where my system would sound different from day to day, or sound absolute really its best at 1 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and through the midday times it would sound a little raggedy and off. The Puritan PSM156 completely cured my system of that. For the last year, it has been sounding beautiful and consistent, never changing in sound, no matter what time or what day it is. And that has proven to me that the reason for this phenomenon of our system's audio, a sound changing, and I know a lot of you have experienced this yourself, for me, it has completely cured that, and it proves to me that it is the power that causes these things to happen. I've seen on many forums people discussing their systems, and they're saying, "Why does my system sound worse at 1 o'clock in the afternoon than it does at 1 o'clock in the morning?" And people cite, there's a lot of stuff going on within the power lines during midday, people working, people out, businesses open. And so you might have more contamination on the line during those hours, which can in turn have an effect on the sound of your system. Now, I know a lot of people think conditioners and power products are a bunch of hooey-fooey snake oil. Some of them are, I admit. I've tried some power products that made my system sound worse. I've tried some that emitted noises themselves. But at the end of the day, the only power conditioner I've ever tried that fixed my problem entirely, improved the sound of my system, and kept the sound consistent no matter what time of day I listen, is the Puritan Audio PSM156. Now, why does it work so well for me? It's because I have issues. I have some DC on my line, which causes some transformers to buzz. When they're plugged into the Puritan, they are dead silent. It keeps the power going to the gear consistent and clean, and therefore the gear is running as clean as possible. A lot of people have told me, well, if the gear is designed right, there shouldn't be any problems from the power. Well, I guess there's a lot of gear that's not designed right, because I have to say the Puritan has improved anything I plugged into it. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about the Puritan here that happened a few weeks ago. So as some of you know who watch me on a regular basis, my reference system right now is the Daniel Hertz Amber system. For me, I've never heard a system like it. I've never had a system this enjoyable. I've never had a system this consistent. It is the sound that I crave and love. So this is the system for me in this room. And I was talking with Mark Levinson, who created Daniel Hertz, and he said, don't plug it into any power conditioner, plug it right into the wall, and just don't use anything fancy. Use the basic speaker cable, the basic power cord, and go right into the wall. I did that, and everything sounded great. There was no buzzing, there was no humming. My power obviously did not affect anything with the Daniel Hertz. But what I did notice, and this did happen over the next 2 or 3 days, I did notice the sound of the system changing. And this was the first time I've noticed this in over a year, or in a year since I installed the Puritan. And in those days I was listening to it, I put the Puritan PSM156 up on my website for sale. I had a guy who's been asking me about it and wanting to buy mine if I sell it. I sold it to him. He actually sent me a cashier's check. I cashed it, waited for it to clear, and then I decided I'm going to put it back in the system one more time just to make sure I'm not going to miss this thing. So I put the Puritan PSM156 back in, plugged the Daniel Hertz into it, plugged my streamer into it, plugged any audio component right into it, and the sound improved. And also the next day, the sound did not alter or change. There was just something about it. And as low noise as the Daniel Hertz is, adding it to the PSM156 with my power situation did improve the sound, and it kept it sounding consistent no matter the hour I listened. I had to email the guy and say, I'm so sorry, but I just can't get rid of this piece. It really does do something wonderful for my system in my room, but that is because I have some strange power issues. If you have perfect power at your location or in your room, most likely the Puritan will not do much for you. Maybe it will, I don't know. But I am using the Puritan PSM156 today with a whole loom of their ultimate power cables. I find their ultimate power cables to be beautiful just because they're floppy and limp, and you can place them anywhere without having to push them or stretch them or bend them. They're very pliable, and they're excellent power cords. Now, a lot of you say, how could a power cord make a difference? Heck, I don't know. I just know when I plug them all in, there is a finishing off to the sound that's really remarkable, and I can tell when I take them out or switch. That's how resolving this system is. And I love the Daniel Hertz for that, because I can hear differences in any little change I make to the system. And that's just what it is, differences. They're not hard to hear. But in any case, I just wanted to give an update on the PSM156. I still get a lot of emails about it. I just got one the other day from a gentleman in Africa who asked me about it and if I still had it and if I still recommend it. Not only do I recommend it, it's the only power product I can recommend because it easily surpassed any of those I have tried, even ones that cost 3 to 4 times the price. The Puritan PSM156, the ultimate cables, it's something that I will never sell as long as I live in this house and have a system in this space. If we move somewhere else and we have great power, I might not need it, but for me, it's worth it because it really does keep my system sounding as good as it can, and it sounds that good no matter what day or time I listen to it. And in the past, I always had the ever-changing sound system, right? When the electric was worse, the system sounded worse. When it was bad, I would get buzzes and noises. The Puritan has fixed all of that for me. So if you're looking, especially if you have issues, if you have a system that sounds different at different times of day, the Puritan fixed that for me. If you have amps that buzz or hum through the transformer, some of them, the Puritan probably will fix that problem as it did for me. As a matter of fact, I had a Yamaha RN2000 here, which I loved. That is one of the best pieces I've heard all year because of the price, the build, what it offers, etc. It's just a remarkable receiver slash integrated amp. When I plugged that Yamaha in, when I had the Puritan out, I was going to package it to ship it. There was a buzz coming from it, from the transformer inside. And I'm like, oh no, not again. I immediately pulled out the Puritan, plugged it into a different outlet in this room, and the buzzing went away. You don't even have to plug in the Puritan or plug into the Puritan to notice what it does for your system. But of course, plugging everything into it will be the best. And when I plugged it into the Puritan, not only did the buzz 100% vanish, it just had a more effortless, free-flowing sound. So before we leave, let's see what was in that box that was on my front porch. I told you I'd unbox it at the end of this video. It's something new that came in that I'm going to do a short video on, but it's supposed to be pretty cool. So let's see it for the first time together. What do we have here today? Ooh, I'm going to turn this over. And so this is like a Ferrari red. Look at this. That is gorgeous. There we go. This is beautiful. I almost don't want to touch it with my paws here. This is a T9X from REL in a Ferrari red. I like the rounded corners too. Very, very cool. So that is what was in the box. That's going to be getting hooked up tonight. And while my system today doesn't really need a sub, subs do add dimension to the sound. I learned that especially when I had two 510s in here, but it'll be interesting to see what the T9X sounds like, even especially compared to the classic 98 that I talked about not so long ago. Very, very beautiful though. Wow. If this would fit into your decor, it's a stunner. So I'll be talking about this soon, guys. I'll see you in the next one. If you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe. Got lots more to come. Enjoy listening to the music. That's what it's all about.